Good morning, Hope Kids, or good evening, whenever you guys are watching this. Hello, my name is Pastor Nathan if you are just watching for the first time. And wherever you're watching from today, whether it's your bedroom with your siblings, maybe it's your living room on a big TV, maybe it's even in the pew of Hope Fellowship while your parents are listening to Pastor Mark, you have an iPad or an iPhone with headphones in listening to me, wherever you are. Hello, I'm so excited that you are watching with us today. Today we are going to be still in our series In the Beginning, talking in week 3 about something really important. Today we're going to be in the book of Genesis, talking all about how we are created in God's image. How at the beginning of time, thousands and thousands of years ago, God created you and me to be in His image. So what we're going to do first is we're actually going to take a brief pause, and then we are going to watch a video, and then you're going to come back to me, and we'll finish out today, all right? So go watch the video and come back. You got to come back, though, so don't forget to come back.
God's story. God made people. So part of God's story is about how He made people, and it goes like this. The very beginning of time, God made the world, and He did it just by speaking. He made the blue sky and planets with rings and galaxies exploding with stars. He made puffy clouds and dry land and sparkling water. He covered the earth with deserts and mountains and planted forests and jungles. He sprinkled the world with flowers and bugs and birds and fish and animals of all kinds. It was a perfect home, full of fun creatures. And God called all of it good. But He wasn't done creating yet. God said, "Let us make mankind in our image, in our likeness, so that they may rule over the fish in the sea and the birds in the sky, over the livestock and all the wild animals, and over all the creatures that move along the ground." This time, though, God didn't just speak. First, He took some dust from the ground. Then He breathed into the dust with His own breath. By doing that, He created the very first person, a man called Adam. God put Adam in an amazing garden called Eden. But Adam was different than the other living creatures God had made. In fact, God put Adam in charge of everything else. But Adam needed a friend. So the Bible says that God caused him to fall into a deep sleep. While Adam was sleeping, God made a woman from one of Adam's ribs. Her name was Eve. And she and Adam were free to live happily in the garden where they could walk and talk with God. It was perfect. Once Adam and Eve were together caring for the garden, God didn't just call the world good, He called it very good. See, people are God's favorite. Remember, we were made in His own image, in His likeness. The Bible says God created mankind in His own image. In the image of God, He created them. Male and female, He created them. We don't know exactly what it means to be created in God's image. We do know it means He made us like Him. So our eyes, our skin, our teeth, our bones are perfectly crafted by God. Our personalities, our sense of humor, our sensitivities, our hobbies, our talents, everything is made by God so that we can be like Him. And we have abilities that none of the animals have. We can paint pictures and write poems. We can solve math problems, explain what we're thinking, and invent cool new things, whether we like to run, teach, build, or anything else. God understands us. Of course, we don't always act perfectly, but that's another part of the story. When God made Adam and Eve, He crafted them in His image. He made them and us like Him. And that's the story of how God made people. So, in case you missed it, here's the quick version. God made the whole world. It was a perfect home. He called it good. He breathed into dust and made Adam. He took one of Adam's ribs and made Eve. Then He called the world very good. He made us like Him, in His image. He understands us, and we are His favorite. And that's a part of God's story.
All right, thank you so much for coming back. It means a lot to me that you would come back and watch the rest of this video. So what I want to do is I want to read you 2 verses. That's it, just 2 verses. And then I want to talk to you about the importance of these 2 verses. It comes from Genesis chapter 1, verses 26 and 27. Then God said, "Let us make human beings so that they are like us. Let them rule over the fish in the seas and the birds in the sky. Let them rule over the livestock and all the wild animals. And let them rule over all the creatures that move along the ground." So God created human beings in His image. He created them to be like Himself. He created them as male and female. So all I want to do today is I want to talk about one big idea. And that is this idea and question of what does it mean to be created in God's image? I want you to take 15 seconds right now to then think and answer about this question of what do you think it means to be created in God's image? Go ahead and do that. All right, so maybe you were thinking, and maybe you even talked to someone next to you. If you're in church, hopefully you didn't say it too loud, but maybe you're thinking that what it means to be made in His image is that we have His way of thinking, that you and I can tell the difference between what is good and what is bad. We know that giving someone money to go and help them get food, that's a good thing. And we know that stealing money from someone so that you can go get food is a bad thing. We know that protecting someone from danger is a really good thing, and we know that putting someone in danger, or worst of all, even killing someone, is a bad thing. You see, we're kind of like God in that way, where we know good from bad. We have what you call morals. It's a moral system. It's a system of good and bad, knowing what is good and bad, that comes from knowing who God is. Or maybe you said maybe we're like God because we can actually think, and we have thoughts in our heads. Thoughts, and able to think and reason, like you being able to discuss with your parents why it was your sibling who broke that dish and not you. Or maybe thoughts and reason to be able to discuss with your teacher why your homework was late. Or maybe it's our ability to be creative. Maybe when you were thinking about what makes us like Him, what makes us like God, is that we are creative just like God was creative. That we listen to music and people in this world make beautiful music, that there are movies and TV shows that tell stories of grand adventure, that maybe all of these things are part of what it means to be created in His image. But I think that the simplest way that I can describe what it means to be made in God's image is this. What it means is that we reflect who and what God is. Now, what does it mean to reflect something? I think we all think of a mirror maybe when we hear the word reflect, right? When you look into a mirror, you see yourself. Or whatever the mirror is pointed at, you see it. So if I look into this, I get to see my ugly face, and then I get to put it down and close it so I don't have to see my ugly face anymore. So what I want you to do, I'm going to give you 10 seconds to go and sprint and find a mirror wherever you are. If you're in church, don't get up and go sprint. But anywhere else, go and sprint to find a mirror, look at yourself for 5 seconds, and then come back to the couch or your bedroom. Ready, set, go. All right, did you make it? Good. Okay, so the mirror shows us whatever we're looking at. Wherever the mirror is pointed at is going to reflect whatever it is. And so what it means to be created in God's image is that we take the mirror from ourselves and we point it to God. When we know who God is, we reflect God to others. When we know and have a relationship and a best type of friendship with God, then we reflect who God is to every single person around us. So today I want to leave you with one question. And I think it's a really important question, especially with everything going on right now. I don't know if your parents have talked to you about it. I don't know if you've seen it on the news, maybe when you're not supposed to be watching it, or I don't know, whatever those rules are in your house. But maybe you've seen some things and heard words like racism or injustice or inequality. Maybe you've heard words like these, and maybe you're thinking about how somebody could be treated a certain way just because of the color of the skin, or just because they come from a different place, or maybe just because they look different than you. Maybe you're wondering, or maybe you have been wondering to yourself, how could anyone treat someone differently? Or maybe you yourself have been thinking that some people are different than you, and because of that, you shouldn't be friends with them. No matter where you are, no matter what you're thinking about, everything that's going on, what I want to remind you is that what God says, what He said and did 5,000 to 6,000 years ago when He created mankind, was that He created every single person in His image. Every single person, no matter the color of their skin, no matter where they come from, no matter how much money they make, no matter what they do with their life, every single person was made in God's image. But here's the thing. If we are always looking in the mirror and we have the mirror pointed on ourselves, and we are always looking at ourselves and trying to help ourselves, and we're trying to do things for us, then we're missing out on what it means to be created in God's image. Because what it means to be created in God's image is that we turn the mirror from our faces, we point it to God, and we reflect who and what God is to those around us. What that means is that we love every single person, no matter who they are, no matter what they look like. It means that we help every single person we come in contact with, whether they're really, really poor and on the side of the street begging for food, or they're really, really rich and it seems like they don't need anything, but maybe all they needed was a hug. Whether they look different than you, whether they think differently than you, what we are called to do for every single person is to reflect who God is to every single one of them. That's my encouragement to you guys today, is to reflect Jesus to every single person that you come in contact with. I know it can be hard sometimes. I know it can be scary sometimes. I know it sometimes seems like a lot of things are going wrong. But just trust that if we reflect Jesus, then we're doing exactly what He created us to do, reflecting Him to those around us. All right, guys. I love you guys, and I miss you guys. It's only a couple more weeks until we are back together again. I'll see you very, very soon.